Productions.
No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jet is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am today's host, Jose Galison. What it do, people? See you guys in chat. See Turbo, Grug, King David, Carmen Cava. All right. Ooh, we got a lady in the chat. Oh my God, that's surprising. We don't get a lot of those around here. Well, before we really get into some content today, I do want to take a moment to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Nado Shave Co. If you're tired of that razor burn that you get from those multi-blade cartridges, this is the way to go. The single blade safety razor is the shit, dude. Let's be real. Compare it to those multi-blade cartridges, it kills it in every single way, shape, and form. It gives you a much smoother shave. It's much better for your skin. It's much cheaper. It's $75 a shave for the entire year, and then after that, you're just buying the razors because now you have the blades because now you have the safety razor itself. So even the first year you're making back your money if you consider how much those multi-blade cartridges are. And then this is also from a company that supports your values. This is a COVID mandate refusing company. This company was born refusing the COVID mandate. Nado was one of those individuals who he got kicked out of the military for not getting the poke, and he started Nado Shave Co. as a result. So here he is supporting our show, and here I am supporting him. So you guys show a little bit of support and get a good product out of it as well. So it's really kind of a no-brainer. And then on top of all of that, you can let them know I sent you and get 10% off if you use Jose at checkout. So it really is a no-brainer. It's a great product. Highly recommend that. And with that, let's check up on the chat. And yeah, we got Bobo in here, Marty McFly, John Black, saying he hasn't shaved in years. You should probably edge. I mean, I don't know. I think even if you got like a thick beard, you should probably edge around. You edge a little bit. You want it to look nice. You know. I don't know. It's your choice. Do what you do. But if you don't shave, obviously, yeah, it would be retarded to buy it. But even then, sure, buy it. Whatever. Put my name in there. I've been really bad lately about reminding you guys also. We have merch over here. We have merch. Our homie Top Lobster does it for us. So you can go over to toplobster.com, and then from there, he has this nice little, I think you call them a Chiron or whatever, like the rolling things, but something's wrong with it and doesn't go over, and my thingy is cut off, already dead, so we are right here off the side, or you can just go up to brands, type in already dead, or not type in, but it's the first thing actually pops up, brands A through N, already dead, go to that, and then you can see all the different merch we have here. Maybe we'll have to get some more here soon, but we got the already dead stuff. Now we got shirts, hats, long sleeves, sweatshirts, pretty much like any borderline damn near anything you want here. The hats are pretty sick. You can see these Gladio hats are dope. I'm sure those Already Dead hats will look dope on a hat as well. But yeah, you can see, Already Dead, retro version of the Already Dead, logo. Then we have Operation Gladio, No Way Jose, and then we got the Yiki and the Kenneth Trying to Do shirts. So I know a lot of people have asked about those for a while because we used to have them, and then Top redid his site, and just it hasn't had them up since then. So it's the first time they've been back. So if you've been waiting on them, here they are. Get them while they're still hot. You never know when Top might get a little ADD and reconfigure his website, because he is the type that, I don't know, he does kind of tends to do it in releases. So if things aren't selling, he will just kind of pack them up and maybe put it out later. So hey, it's up to you guys if we want to keep those around. So if you guys want to keep seeing these designs, keep supporting it, and then also you might get other designs if you guys are supporting, if you guys are getting this merch. So I think we should stick around for a while. Hell, we're supposed to be going on Jake Shields here soon, so I have a feeling we'll probably sell a few tees. We'll probably maybe make a few more designs. I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of that. But if you want to see more of that, definitely get some shirts of your own. But before we get into some content, let's check in the chat and then we'll get going to it. Shield your show to my crypto friends. Hell yeah, dude. I don't really talk about crypto much here though, so I don't know. I don't know what they'll get out of that. Maybe they like other shit. All right, fucking let's get into some real content now. Some real ass shit. Although I say real shit kind of tongue in cheek. By the way, did I have that up when I was doing it, or did I have it down? Sometimes, because I look at, like, a lot of times I'm like at another screen looking at something while I'm doing it. So let me know. If not, like, whatever, I'll scroll over again real quick in case I fucked up, because I do that often. So here's you can see the different designs. So scrolling over it again. There you go, toplobster.com. But with that, all right, let's get into the actual first story. I just wasn't sure if I shared it or not. I fuck up all the time. But let's get into I guess the CIA claims the Ark of the Covenant has been found. This was shared by Rage Child to the show. So let's check this out. I know if I look here, I believe there's an article we can go to by the Daily Mail. So let's see what supports this supposed claim. So secret CIA files claim Ark of the Covenant has been found. This was 2 days ago that it was posted. The location of a chest believed to contain the Ten Commandments has long been a mystery, but CIA documents claim the Ark of the Covenant has been found. According to the Bible, the Ark of the Covenant was built by the Israelites shortly after they fled Egypt around the 13th century BC. Moses then placed the Ten Commandments inside. The CIA conducted experiments in the 1980s with individuals who claimed they could perceive information about distant objects, events, or other people. All right, we can already tell where this is going, and this is why it's extremely important not to just take clickbait articles and just run with it, because the whole look, they found the Ark of the Covenant, which a lot of people will get just from looking at that article, just just looking at it without actually reading it, doesn't seem to be the case. So let's look into this a little bit more. The report details one of these tests where remote viewer number 32 was given coordinates to locate a target, and they described the Ark of the Covenant hiding in the Middle East. Some historians believe the Ark of the Covenant was originally kept inside the Holy of Holies, the innermost chamber of the ancient Temple of Jerusalem, before it disappeared during the Babylonian sack of Jerusalem in 586 BC. And now I'm just going to go ahead and get out of it before the deluge of people come in and go, oh, there's this study or that study or X, Y, and Z that show that, oh, these are reliable or to a certain degree or whatever, that remote viewing's real. Sure it is. I don't know. I mean, that's not even the point. Because that is always comes to whether you believe remote viewing's real or not. I'll be honest, even just at that level, I'm incredibly skeptical just from the jump. The idea that I can just nanu, and just see shit in my head. Sure, maybe it's a thing. I mean, I guess it wouldn't rock my world nor even change my position on what I'm about to kind of flesh out here. Even if that does end up being the case. My contention is that when you're dealing with remote viewing, especially anytime the CIA is involved, it's the CIA did some remote viewing. So that means the CIA got one of their CIA remote viewers, and they went, hey, I need you to look up X thing in your head. I mean, I don't trust the CIA as far as I can throw them. And so now you're telling me now they have super secret special people with magical psychic powers. They can tell them where things are. I don't know. It sounds kind of like a really, really easy way to make a flimsy precedent to do things. Kind of like, oh, well, my fucking magic mind guy said there was this thing over here, so I got to go over there. Or that's how we know there's actually Middle Easterners involved in this, or which they did in the Oklahoma City bombing, by the way. There were released documents later that were CIA remote viewers who claimed they saw, I can't remember the specifics, but essentially they saw stuff that heavily implied that it was like essentially some sort of Middle Easterners that were involved, which is like just so happens to be exactly what the CIA would have liked to have probably pinned it on at that point in time. So kind of checks out. And it kind of makes my point for me. So you can have a situation where remote viewing is real, and it's like, okay, that doesn't change the fact that, like, hey, we're still dealing with, hey, CIA is trying to obtain information, and they're going to essentially one other person. So this is all behind closed doors to begin with, and it's a magic dude that just tells you where things are. It just is rife for abuse, and the idea of like, oh, so and so said. And I am of the opinion, too, this a lot of times when you hear reports say, like, oh, we're hearing from our CIA sources that this or that, a lot of times I think it might be shit like this. I also think it's how you're able to do that. Like you can go, oh, well, the CIA sources are saying that this is where our guy is at. And you're like, are they really, or is that just what they want you to believe? And that was a remote viewer who saw it, and that it just seems like something you could easily get. Because I mean, let's be real. You could just take it and say, "Hey, Bob, I need you to say you saw this here," and you can go, "Okay, I saw this there," and you go, "Cool, look, my remote viewers saw that." You can also go even further. You can go, your remote viewer doesn't even have to exist. I mean, you could just completely fudge all the numbers. We're talking about two people, supposed remote viewer, and then likely whoever the CIA handler is who's handling the information. So now you have two people that need to lie. Actually, one, since one of these people don't even exist now. It just seemed, my point being is I don't know, I'm not going to keep belaboring this point, but the point is it's just such an easy nexus point for feds to kind of play information games, whether or not it's real. So, and maybe the Ark of the Covenant's real. Let's keep going. There's also legend that the artifact was taken to Ethiopia and now resides in a local church. Evidence that the chest existed has yet to be found, but a CIA document declassified in 2000 claims it was discovered in 1988. All right, so now this is a CIA document declassified in 2000. Once again, I don't even know how the fuck this is something that went viral. So now this is an article from just the other day saying secret CIA files claim Ark of the Covenant is found, and this was from things that were declassified in 2000. And this kind of goes to my point I've made multiple times when we've talked about these JFK files and how, and I don't even necessarily have a problem with it. I guess when you have stuff like this, it's kind of like points. It's kind of cheap. So I guess I have a little bit of a problem with it here. But there is definitely a lot of, revelatory information that people can do this with. It can act like it's new information and be like, mind blow the public. That seems to be what's happening here. That they're just kind of riding the wave of the JFK stuff, knowing no one's really going to read this and go, oh, shit, this is some stuff from 2000. This isn't even new. People are just going to run with the title. That seems to be what the angle was here. And whatever. It worked for them, I guess. So, all right, the target is a container. The container has another container inside of it. The document states, the target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver, and is decorated with a 6-winged angel. The remote viewer continues to say that the coffin-shaped object is located somewhere in the Middle East and saw people in the area speaking Arabic. The remote viewer, however, was not told that they were searching for the Lost Covenant before the experiment began. All right, so now you can see the article here, or not the article, but the document itself. So, like I said, this was back in, August? No, not August. It's no, it is August. My bad. This was back in August. That they the August of 2000 they released this. So yeah, this is just stating that they have some fucking nanu guy saw that the Ark of the Covenant. Oh my God. According to biblical history, the sacred gold-covered wooden chest was constructed sometime around 1445 BC. The 10 Commandments are a list of directives given to Moses by God, including rules such as thou shalt not kill and honor thy mother and father. Some historians believe the Ark remained inside the ancient Temple of Jerusalem for centuries and during this time, only the high priest of the Israelites could see it. Even he was only allowed near it on Judaism's holiest holiday, Yom Kippur. And then it vanished. But this CIA document, a remnant of the mysterious Project Sunstreak, suggests the U.S. government has known where the Ark is for years. In the 1970s and 1980s, the DIA and several other intelligence agencies, including the CIA, employed individuals alleged to have paranormal capabilities as a means of acquiring intelligence about distant events. Okay, so this is just their stun streak. I guess this is probably when they're doing some sort of remote viewing operation, it sounds like. Sunstreak attempted to use psychics known as remote viewers to gather intelligence on targets using only coordinates. Remote viewers were supposedly able to project their consciousness beyond their bodies to observe a far-off location. Here's more of the document. The CIA tapped these psychics for a wide array of operations, from locating hostages kidnapped by Islamic terrorist groups to tracing the paths of fugitive criminals within the U.S. The project, known as Sunstreak, has gained public attention after it was featured on a recent episode of the Ninjas Are Butterflies podcast. Notice how they pointed out how they've used this in like Islamic terrorism and stuff, and just this kind of goes to my point. This is a means that you can, like, if you're using, like, I don't know, extra, what is the word? It's not extrajudicial. Like, essentially, there's a term for it when you conduct your investigation in a way that is illegal. Essentially, there's a term for it that I couldn't think of, but essentially the idea being that, like, you used methods other than legal methods essentially in your investigation, and instead of revealing the means, whether that be like some sort of NSA or something, or you can just say, my nanu guy said he saw something, and then there you go. There's your explanation for why you have reason to believe whatever given thing. All right, show host John Hooper said he thought Project Sunstreak was fake until he saw it went on the CIA government website and found the document. I was like, what am I looking at? He said. The document describes a training exercise conducted on December 5th, 1988. The psychic projected their consciousness beyond their body to search for the sacred artifact, writing down his observations as they went. What he wrote was bone-chilling, Hooper said. This target is located somewhere in the Middle East, as the language spoken by individuals present seemed to be Arabic, the psychic wrote. The psychic described nearby buildings that resembled mosque domes and individuals clothed in virtually all white with black hair and dark eyes. One figure I homed in on wore a mustache, they wrote. The target is hidden, underground, dark, and wet were all aspects of the location of the target. The purpose of the target is to bring a people together. It's something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There is an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we now know. The target is protected by entities and can only be opened now by those who are authorized to do so. This container will not/cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. The psychic goes on to say that the time comes, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple, that anyone who attempts to open the container by prying or striking will be destroyed by the container's protectors through the use of a power unknown to us. The rest of the report features sketches and scrawled writings of the psychic, presumably made during the remote viewing session. So you can see, like, he's showing kind of almost like an alien, or not an alien, but like an angel. I think he's trying to say seraphim. Just kind of little doodles he's got there. All right, let's keep going. They include drawings of what appear to be the features of a building, a mosque with a dome top, 8 mummies lined up beside each other, a wheel, and a winged creature called the seraphim. The document also includes multiple lists of seemingly random but ominous words such as death, forbidden, protected, scared, destroyed, pain, and anguish. Some theories suggest that the Ark of the Covenant may reside somewhere in Ethiopia. Although this remote viewer claimed it is somewhere in the Middle East, the African nation is home to a large Arabic-speaking Muslim population and numerous mosques. Now, that little line right there kind of gets also a little bit, it's something worthwhile. When you're dealing with these remote viewers too, it's the same idea when you talk about like things like prophecy, and you're like, oh, it says here in the old book that the nations of the world will rise up and clash, and then you see people go, oh, look, it's happening. There's these two world powers, and it's like, it's vague. You can easily kind of attribute what you want to it. Also, to some extent, you can kind of make it happen. You can kind of make your like if you say something vague enough, and then you also have the time beforehand, you can kind of almost make that that prophecy. And a lot of people make this point when it comes to like the Abrahamic prophecies, the idea that if you have thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people that believe in these prophecies, it's almost like this Ouija board effect where like naturally people just kind of like this like group consciousness kind of comes into play, and it's like, oh, we move over to here, we move over there. It's just what was I even getting at? Point being is, these remote viewers. I remember getting the idea of the vague nature of this. The idea that like you can kind of with like the idea, like you heard what he said. He was like, oh, it was kind of. He's described a sort of wet and dark place. He said, kind of Arabic. He kind of described what looks like people speaking, kind of the garb of it. So he's just describing vaguely the Middle East. Like, so like you're like, oh my God, the Ark of the Covenant. We have a nanu guy who says, oh, I think it's in the Middle East. Like, oh yeah, I mean, that's a pretty fucking fair, if we are to assume the Ark of the Covenant exists, let's be real. Probably a pretty easy guess to think it's probably in the fucking Middle East. So, I mean, that's pretty good guess there. So kind of gets to my point, the idea that like what does this even mean? This isn't very accurate at all. A long-standing religious legend in Ethiopia describes how the Ark of the Covenant was brought here by a man named Menelik, who was supposedly the son of the Queen of Sheba and Israel's King Solomon. The Queen of Sheba was from Ethiopia, but ruled over a kingdom in modern-day Yemen. According to legend, she gave birth to Menelik in her country of origin, but he later traveled to Jerusalem to study with his father. While there, he supposedly stole the ark and brought it back to Aksum, Ethiopia. Locals say it has resided in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion ever since. British scholar of Semitic languages and Ethiopian studies Edward Uhlendorf claimed he saw the ark inside the church during World War II, but a source close to Uhlendorf later revealed that the artifact he saw was nothing more than a replica. What he saw was what you find in any Ethiopian church, which is a model of the Ark of the Covenant. Tudor Parfit, a British historian, writer, and former colleague of Uhlendorf, told Live Science in 2018. Apparently, Uhlendorf said that it didn't differ in any way from any arks he had seen in any other churches in Ethiopia, Parfit said. It wasn't ancient and certainly wasn't the original ark. Thus, the location of the sacred chest remains a mystery just waiting to be solved. So I hope you guys have learned not to fall for clickbait after looking at this, because that's exactly what this was. This is essentially a bullshit story. So yes, here you go. Somebody says, like I said, this shit has been floating around for 25 years. So yeah, this is nothing new. These documents were released long ago. So yeah, this is just that someone had the bright idea to go, I bet you they're going to think these are JFK files and it'll probably do numbers. And it did. It did do numbers. I've seen all sorts of people talking about like, oh my God, did you see about this? And no one really read it. So such is the nature of things. So I'm scrolling through the chat, seeing what you guys have to say. The Ethiopians say they have it. It's guarded by blind priests. Nephilim murder crew raiding the stream. Thanks, fellas, for doing that. It's just a rehash of the same BS, or did new info come out? This is not new info. That's kind of the whole point, is that these clickbait articles come out, and it's not new info. So, but yeah, you are right. It's not a new info at all. So, CIA, we are omnipresent. Also, CIA, we cannot find a guy in a cave. But remote viewing is woo-woo top lobster sheet, I guess. I don't know if I've ever really seen him saying too much about it. RATML saying, what's up, Jose? What it do, dude? Says, come for the tunes, stay for the loons. That's what we're doing here. All right, let's get into the next story. Someone said, absolutely hate media. I appreciate your podcast, though. Thank you. So, yep. All right. The History Channel had an episode on this exact thing years ago. Yeah, and then someone still had the bright idea that these dumb fucks, they won't even check. So, all right, on to the next story. Next titled story of today. We saw, let me just make sure I'm sharing it. I am not sharing it. Good thing I popped over here to check. We have this is actually shared by Monica Perez, which maybe we'll get her on this morning show here soon. I just DM'd her the other day to ask her, like, hey, if you're ever available. Wait, am I not following her? I just realized I think it made me unfollow her. That's weird. I just realized it showed I wasn't following her. Odd. Anyways, so I hit her up recently, and so she might come on at some point. I need to DM her back. I'm really bad about that, but I did ask her if she'd be able to ever pop on one of these morning shows, and she said yes. So keep an eye out. Maybe we'll get Monica on one of these morning shows one of these days. But here she is sharing a story of Trump signing a pardon for ex-Hunter Biden business partner Devon Archer. So we're going to get into that. Let's show her commentary real quick. What a crock of shit. Boy, if this doesn't prove they're in it together, nothing will. Very clever way they spun this. I saw it unfolding and knew where it was headed. Jeez Louise. And she's like quoting, in a rare move, Archer's conviction initially was overturned in November 2018 by Manhattan U.S. District Judge Ronnie Abrams. Total act of corruption on her part, and guess what? Her husband was the number 2 under Mueller in the Russiagate probe. They're all in it together. According to Monica. And she says Biden couldn't pardon this guy as a direct conspirator in a crime Hunter got away with, and every other co-conspirator went to jail for. Then she said, one of whom was this woman's boss at the time of her disappearance while he was being investigated by the SEC, and she was keeping his books. So I guess there was also a broad named Heidi Plank who went missing around during all this. Maybe we'll check that out in a minute. But let's read the New York Post article on Devon Nunes, or not Nunes. I keep wanting to say Devon Nunes. It's Devon Archer, isn't it? Yeah. Devon Nunes is the fucking political homo, whatever his name. I don't remember what he was all involved in, but I know he's a political guy. I don't know if he's Congress, Senate, what he is. But either way, not him. But this is Devon Archer. Devon Archer. All right, so let's remember that. Trump-sized pardon for ex-Hunter business partner turned key informant for Republicans in Biden corruption. Oh, so that's the angle. The angle is, we're hooking him up because he's an informant now. So, but this is what a key guy when it came to the whole Burisma Hunter bullshit earlier or before. So let's go ahead and keep going with this. All right, Washington President Trump on Tuesday pardoned former first son Hunter Biden's business partner, Devon Archer, who was convicted of swindling an American Indian tribe, saying he was treated very unfairly. Archer became a key informant for House Republicans investigating then-President Joe Biden's role in his family's foreign business dealings and provided significant information incriminating the elder Biden, fueling an impeachment inquiry into alleged corruption. I think he was treated very unfairly, Trump said before signing the pardon at the White House. And I looked at the records, studied the record, and he was a victim of a crime as far as I'm concerned, so we're going to undo that. Trump added, congratulations, Devon. Archer, a father of 3, told the Post he was grateful to Trump and his family for sticking by him, and also to Tony Bobulinski, another former Biden family associate who came forward to corroborate information about different foreign dealings allegedly involving Joe Biden. I want to extend my deepest thanks to President Trump. I am grateful to the president for recognizing that I was a victim of a convoluted lawfare effort intended to destroy and silence me, Archer said. Like so many people, my life was devastated by the Biden family's selfish. What the fuck? Damn it. It just refreshed and then moved my spot in the fucking thing. Give me a second. Probably a fucking dick. All right. I'm grateful to the president for recognizing I was a victim of a convoluted lawfare effort intended to destroy and silence me. Like so many people, my life was devastated by the Biden's family's selfish disregard for the truth and for the peace of mind and happiness of others. The Bidens talk about justice, but they don't mean it. Archer added, I want to thank my wife from the bottom of my heart and for keeping the family intact in these fragile years. I never wanted any of this brought upon my family, but I now have the opportunity to return my full focus to family, friends, and professional life. Which it does feel like, kiss the ring, and immediately like, Biden's so bad. Like that seems to be, which is a comment. We've seen this multiple times also, like even in the signal chat thingy, the Yemen signal chat story, that was like, we need to focus on how Biden was weak. That's the focus. So it is just like, Biden's just become this perfect little scapegoat for whenever you just want to be like, but Biden's so bad. And then that's the only explanation you have to give when you see things like this. But Biden's so bad. Why are we bombing Yemen? But Biden's so bad. we're bombing Yemen because Biden's so bad. Yes, Biden's so bad we're bombing Yemen. You're like, okay. Biden's so bad we're hooking up Devon Archer. Okay, sure. I mean, maybe that is the case. Maybe he is working with them. Maybe this isn't some conspiratorial something or other. Maybe he just feels bad. Maybe Trump is like, yo, this is some guy who got caught up in some nonsense. I never got really super into the ins and outs of this. If I had like my buddy Clint with me, maybe he'd be able to be like, well, this is bullshit. Devon Archer should be sitting in prison or whatever. I don't really have a strong opinion when it comes to this guy. I have no idea if he was some sort of semi-hapless victim to some degree, or just kind of like he just was a victim of being around a prominent person like Hunter. I mean, while being in on the cut type deal. I don't know. I have no idea. But either way, the now pardoned businessman is writing a book due to be published by Post Hill, which also put out Laptop from Hell by the Post's Miranda Devine, which cataloged emails showing Joe Biden was involved in business relationships with China, Ukraine, and other countries where he held sway as vice president. Trump promised Archer a pardon when they met Saturday at the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Philadelphia. The president told the Post Sunday he's getting a full pardon. He was screwed by the Bidens. They destroyed him like they tried to destroy a lot of people. A New York jury convicted Archer of 2 felonies in 2018 for taking part in selling more than $60 million in bogus bonds for an Oglala Sioux entity in South Dakota, sentencing him to a year in prison, forfeiture of $15.7 million, and restitution of $43.4 million. Holy shit. Archer and 2 other Burnham Financial Group executives were convicted of conspiracy to commit securities fraud and securities fraud. Okay, that's a weird way to put that. Okay. Hunter Biden was vice chairman of Burnham and earned up to $200,000, but was not charged. A scandal plagued Hunter's best friend in business, later turned on the Bidens and provided explosive details to Congress as he pursued appeals and last year secured a legal win to allow for resentencing. Archer argued that he didn't intend to defraud the tribe, but his conviction was upheld, including by the Supreme Court last year following a complicated legal struggle. In a rare move, Archer's conviction was overturned in November 2018 by Manhattan U.S. District Judge Ronnie Abrams, who ruled there wasn't enough evidence against him while upholding the convictions of his 2 co-defendants. It was later reinstated by appeals judges. He called his dad. Archer told the House Oversight Committee in 2023 that Joe Biden had many previously known interactions with his son's partners, including about 20 speaker phone calls during business meetings. Archer said the 46th president met with Chinese government-linked businessman Jonathan Lee during a December 2013 trip to Beijing, shortly before Hunter Biden, who was also on the trip, launched state-backed investment fund BHA Partners with Lee as CEO. The sitting vice president later greeted Lee on the phone during a subsequent Hunter trip to China, Archer said. Archer also said Joe Biden attended 2 dinners at D.C.'s Cafe Milano restaurant in 2014 and 2015 with his son's patrons from East Europe and Central Asia, rather than just 1 dinner as previously reported. Hunter Biden later confirmed those dinners in his own testimony after the Biden 2020 campaign had repeatedly disputed their existence shortly before that year's election. An attendee of the 2015 meal, Vadim Pazarovsky, was an advisor of the board of Beriza Holdings, the Ukrainian gas company that paid Hunter a salary of up to $1 million per year beginning in April 2014 to serve on its board as his father led the Obama administration's Ukraine policy. Archer, who also served on Burisma's board, testified to Congress that Hunter Biden in December 2015 stepped away from a meeting of the Four Seasons in Dubai to call D.C. with Burisma owner Mykola Zlochevsky and Pazarsky. So, okay. Listen, I did not hear this phone call, but he called his dad, Archer said. The then vice president was in the process of the beginning to advocate for ousting Ukrainian prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, which Biden ultimately achieved by threatening to yank $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees to Kiev. And now that's the one that you see the video of go around all the time, or he's bragging about it, and people bring that up. Yeah, he's literally threatening, to withhold $1 billion from them if they didn't get rid of the prosecutor that was essentially causing problems. Another attendee of at least one of the D.C. dinners was former First Lady of Moscow, Yelena Baturina, a billionaire who sought out U.S. property investments with the then second son and Archer. Batarina transferred $3.5 billion to a corporate entity controlled by Hunter Biden and Archer in February 2014. Joe Biden posed with Kazakhstani business associates of his sons at one of the dinners, including Ken Rakashev, who wired Hunter $142,300 to buy a luxury car in 2014. So I guess around the same time that he was with them at one of the dinners. Archer left some questions unresolved about Hunter Biden's business, including the reason $3.5 million was transferred by Batarina. Archer told Congress he was unaware of the reason before his attorney headed off further House inquiries. Now, it does seem like he worked with these guys a lot, so I guess I'm not really that astounded he's getting hooked up. Archer did say that Batarina invested more than $100 million in his Rosemont realty firm, in which Hunter Biden was also involved. Emails from Hunter's abandoned laptop show he was actively engaged in courting Batarina. About a week after the mysterious transfer, Archer wrote to Hunter to say he was with Yelena, and an April 26, 2014 email from Hunter to Archer said, "We should ask Yelena to fund a short-term development team to scope projects." Batarina and another Russian billionaire who worked on U.S. investments with Hunter Biden, Vladimir Yevtushenko, were never sanctioned by Joe Biden's administration as he sought to apply financial pressure on Moscow's business elite over the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine. Oh, I guess that's the end of it. That's the way it worded there did not lend to me to believe that was the end of the article. But okay. All right. There's a lot there. It does seem like, the implication this guy worked with the Trump administration a lot. So once again, I'm not astounded. So I guess I don't necessarily have to jump to conspiratorial thinking, but maybe she's onto something. Let's look at this. She found this one broad who disappeared. So let's look at this. Heidi Plank. 3 years after she went missing and law enforcement was led to Chiquita Canyon landfill, Heidi Plank remains missing. So this was back in 2024. This broad went missing. Her dog was found wandering the 29th floor of the same building. Law enforcement officials say that forensic evidence was located inside the building, which led detectives to believe that an incident occurred that resulted in Plank's death. So they think she's dead, but they don't have a body. Plank's 2017 Range Rover was discovered on November 4th, 2021 in an underground residential parking garage a few blocks from that same apartment complex on South Hope Street. Okay. In late November 2021, LAPD investigators started excavating part of the Chiquita Canyon landfill, a few miles west of Highway I-126 of the greater Santa Clarita Valley. Local law enforcement began conducting excavation operations with an ongoing criminal investigation and evidence that may have been brought to the landfill for disposal. Okay, so it seems to be they have reason to believe she may have been disposed of there. In February 2023, she was officially declared dead by a court ruling. They ruled that her date of death was the night she disappeared. Last year, the family and her son have arranged to post several large billboards in hopes of soliciting information that could lead to recovery. Anyone with information on her whereabouts, call the missing person units at 213-996-1800 or 1-877-LAPD 24/7. Okay, all right. Well, that's something. Who is this broad again? According to her, that one of whom. Okay, 1 second. Guess she's saying this is one of the co-conspirators was this woman's boss, and this is while he was being investigated by the SEC, and she was working on his books is when she disappeared. So that's interesting. That's something. All right, let's pop back in the chat. It's been a while since I checked in on you guys. So, all right. Let's see what you guys have to say. Dropping to the chat. All right. I see you guys are in a little bit of your own conversation about the Shroud of Turin. That's interesting. All right, scrolling through the chat. Seeing what you guys have. Trump is always playing 6 million D chess. John Black, yeah, 100%. Fucking Patriots in control, baby. Let's fucking go. Let me see. Just seeing what you guys say. You guys are just kind of talking about what the man. You guys are having an in-depth discussion about King Arthur and all sorts of all sorts of woo-woo. So I'm not going to cut in on you guys' fun woo-woo conversation in the chat. No, you guys, you're fine. He says apologies. And no, that's good. You guys have your little conversations. It's good. I'm just poking in to see if you guys have anything to say to me. Let's get into the next story. This is shared by Falker the Wishmaster, which I just gave him a little bit of follow earlier when I realized I wasn't. I follow you guys. If you're a regular contributor to the show, that is probably one of the best ways to get a follow from this guy. But you guys were telling me about yesterday that there was a few cops that have just gone missing or suicided, I guess. So let's look into this and see if maybe we can find out more. Once again, this is Falcor the Wishmaster at Falcor the Reborn. If you guys want to support a homie. But so here we go. This is from MJ Truth Ultra that shared it. It says, Kash Patel needs to investigate what is going on in Harris County, Texas ASAP. 4 current and former Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies have died by suicide within a 6-week period, 3 within a 1-week period. We have William Bozeman, who was a former deputy who was found dead. Was his death ruled as suicide by the county examiner? Specific details have not been provided. We have Maria Vasquez, who's a former deputy who died by suicide in Montgomery, Texas. Medical examiner confirmed his suicide. Also, no specific details. We have Christina Kohler, active duty in the courts since 2018. She was reported missing before found dead on March 13th. Someone placed a credible threat alert out for her before found. Her death was ruled as suicide by the county medical examiner with no specific method disclosed publicly. Long Nguyen, former deputy. Long Nguyun's death on February 26th was confirmed as a suicide by the county medical examiner. Once again, the county medical examiner, with no detailed public information on the details on the method of death. He was reportedly fighting for some type of internal reforms. Sorry, I got a call. Internal reforms. I should have turned off my ringer. Luckily, I can tell it's just a fucking scam call. What's suspicious? The 3 deaths occurred. 3 of the deaths occurred within a week, with Nguyen's 6 weeks prior. Rapid sequence is statistically impossible for a single agency, so this is in the county. I don't know if it's actually technically a specific. No, it's the county sheriff's office deputies. So I was just thinking it was like different deputies within that county, like they wouldn't actually be part of the county sheriff's office. But no, these are the county sheriff's office individuals. So. The autopsy and toxicology reports are withheld, standard practice, but without details. It's impossible to independently verify consistency with suicide or rule out coercion or staging. Kohler's disappearance before death stands out as a huge red flag. Missing person cases transitioning to suicide rulings stink of foul play, especially if the investigation is expedited. Credible threat alert suggests someone was concerned prior to her death. So if Bozeman indeed pushed for reform and corrections, as some claim, could he have faced retaliation? I mean, it seems a bit much. I would assume if likely probably some sort of crime was seen. But let's go ahead and play this, see if we can figure out anything more. All right, I just realized I did it again. I fucked up. I didn't have it up, obviously. All right, well, whatever. Let's take a second. I'll go through the chat anyways. Someone says, how do we contribute via X? I see you're on Rumble right now. I can tell with the little green triangle. You can Rumble rant if you want. I mean, it doesn't go to me. But if you do really want to super chat on YouTube, you can do that. That goes to Austin. So you can do it over the Underclass podcast YouTube channel. So that's the best place to do that. Or not the best place if you want to super chat particularly. But Rumble Rant is a good way to go about. I do try to keep an eye on it. It doesn't show on... it doesn't really show well. I have to actually manually go look at it. So it's a little bit annoying, but... That, or you can support via Patreon. So patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's a good way to contribute that way. And you get some perks out of it. You get early access to episodes. For example, I just did part 7 of our false memory syndrome thing last night, which that probably won't come out for another couple weeks. In 45 minutes, part 5 is about to be premiering on this channel. So But you would have already watched that if you're a patron. So you can get the early stuff. You also can get an ad-free RSS feed there. And also, I give out the StreamYard link for me and Austin's Already Deads. So that way you guys can pop in for the second half of it to do like a video call type of video chat thing. So those are the ways you can contribute if you'd like. If you're trying to just do like a super chat type thing, you're going to have to go with Rumble or go over to Austin's YouTube. But otherwise, you can just do the subscription model and go over to Patreon, and we do appreciate that. So, all right, let's get back into this. I'm sorry, I fucked up like a retard and didn't have us playing, so let's start this over again. Oh, you guys are saying it's not showing audio? You gotta be fucking kidding me. God damn it. Alright, let's try this. This is fucking gay. Alright, let's try this. Stop sharing. Damn it, this is fucking gay. StreamYard just fucking me in the butt lately, huh? Alright, let's try it again. Let me see. Now it should work. I see the little audio button. God damn it. I get it. You guys I see you say it's not playing the video. I'm sorry for that, guys. It should play it now. Let me start. I won't start it over completely.
3 days later, Maria, or should they be doing? That has made great.
So today, friends and family said goodbye to veteran Harris County
you guys should
Deputy
hear that. Let me know if you don't.
Caller. Her death last week was ruled a suicide. Caller is one of 4 current or former Harris County deputies who've taken their own lives in just the last 6 weeks. ABC 13's Jessica Willey is live tonight, and this is leading to important conversations about the need for support, Jessica.
Yeah, Eric, the department has a behavioral health division that has made great strides since it was established.
By the way, Bobo, I see you saying you're not hearing it, but everyone else is saying they're hearing it. So I think you may have an issue. So, all right, we're gonna keep playing. I can't do anything about your problem, Bobo. Let's keep going.
In 2020, and has led the way, its director says, among law enforcement agencies. But these recent deaths are raising serious concerns for the deputies organization. The question is, what more should they be doing?
It caught a lot of us by surprise.
Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Christina Kohler left home last week and was never seen again. Houston police issuing this alert. The 37-year-old found on the 13th. She had taken her own life. 3 days later, Maria Vasquez, who left the department in December, died by apparent suicide. William Bozeman, also a former deputy, died earlier this week. Tragic news.
One is too many. 2, 3 it's definitely devastating.
That Jose Lopez is helping his friends and colleagues try to process.
It hits very close to home, and it's a reminder to us of how fragile life is. It's also a reminder that we do need to look out for each other. We do need to take care of each other.
Lopez is the president of the Harris County Deputies Organization, but he knew 2 of the late deputies personally.
I knew him for over 20 years.
In just 6 weeks' time, 4 current and former deputies have taken their own lives. Psychologist Thomas McNeese is the director of the department's Behavioral Health Division.
These last few weeks have been difficult for our staff and for the sheriff's office as a whole.
He says he and his division work to provide resources to both former and current employees who are struggling. They embed to help people feel more comfortable.
This profession unfortunately takes a toll on people. And over time, the longer they're in it, the more of a toll that it's.
All right. Well, that's definitely interesting. If you guys see anything more on this out there, be our eyes and ears out there. Let us know. So yeah. All right. That's wild. All right. Let's get into. All right. You see. You also shared this with me. Said missing for 2 weeks. Body found and declared suicide. So yeah. I mean, remember when we were reading initially through the post, we saw the one broad was missing for 2 weeks. So let's look through this real quick. So Texas, 37-year-old law enforcement joined the office, served in the courts. So this Christina Kohler. She was reported missing 2 weeks ago, and her body discovered on March 13th. So this was written, when was this written? The 27th. So it was written yesterday. Okay, so yeah, no. All right, she was missing for 2 weeks. Okay, so that's I think that's really the only thing that would be, we should probably hone in on there. I'm not going to read this whole article again because it's going to cover a lot of the same stuff. But that is that. I mean, I know we mentioned that earlier. I just wanted to, refocus in on that because I may not have really fully digested that. So that is interesting. She was missing for 2 weeks before. All right. I mean, once again, you guys please keep an eye out because I haven't seen anything. This is the first I'm hearing this story, so obviously I don't know anything in the way of like anything that could be why this happened, but I don't know. Keep an eye out. Maybe there will be some sort of developments in that area. So yeah. And here we go. Let's pop through here. RATML. Yo, Jose, you should check out the guys on the Think Tank podcast. It's a pretty interesting podcast to listen to because they flesh out all the connections between just about everything we see in the media. I'm interested. I'd be down. Let me see. You should check out the guys. So I got to take a break real quick. Got an emergency. Tons took a poop in his pants. Well, sorry about that. Yeah, that happens. Kids are great. All right, let's get into the next story. Got another one from Rage Child. Today's a lot of catching up on stuff you guys tagged me on that I kind of got put to the wayside due to breaking stories. So it's kind of a boring story today. Well, not a boring story today, but just so far in the world of breaking news, not so much. But we have this stuff you guys covered. We have Rage Child shared this. It says, after years of sexual abuse as a child growing up in Hollywood, Shirley Temple was eventually named Dame of Honor in the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. Which I'm pretty sure Dame of Honor means that they're like actually fairly high up in it, if I recall correctly. Obviously, go check out William Ramsey's work, particularly when he came on my show or on Already Dead a while back. That'd probably be a good place if you guys want to look into that a little bit more. But yeah, that is interesting that Shirley Temple ended up becoming becoming one of the Order of Malta folks. So that is definitely particularly interesting. All right, on to the next one. Also from Rage Child, a federal judge has ruled that 21-year-old permanent U.S. resident Yun Xiao Chung can't be deported after ICE targeted her for anti-Israel activism. So yeah, that's a good thing. I think obviously I'm all for that. I'm not a big fan. I'm not really honestly a huge border hawk guy. I'm not a border hawk guy. I'm like. I know my audience. I know you guys are probably, a lot of you guys are pretty border hawkish. I'm probably a little bit less so than you guys are, but I'm definitely not like some open borders fuck. I don't really like, my take is just that I don't know. How do I put it? Like, I'm very, anyone's familiar with Hoppa's perspectives, I'm kind of like online with him. I'm like, I understand the perspectives of both sides, or particularly from like a libertarian perspective when it comes to borders. I'm partial to the Hoppian side of it, which is more of like a bordertarian type of perspective. So I am sort of partial to it, but I just don't really have a strong opinion in general. So I don't care. Like, if this was like violent, gang member being deported, I'd be like, okay. But I don't know. I guess the point I'm kind of getting at is I really am kind of don't like this knee-jerk, like, just fucking deport them, and you're like, okay, sure, if we're talking about, like, shitty people, but if you're talking about people who have, like, or people who are here illegally, but this is very quickly become, oh no, we're talking about people who went through the current programs in place to go through the system, and we're just talking about deporting them because we don't like political positions they have. It just seems gross. I mean, it'd be one thing if they were like committing crimes over here and you were able to prove that they committed a crime. Sure, send them back home. But the idea that we're just going to willy-nilly, like hair trigger, just fucking deport anybody just because we can, like this, because like, oh, you're over in the United States, you shouldn't feel comfortable. You should realize that you're walking on eggshells and get deported at any time. No, it should be like, you really should only be concerned about getting deported if you're here properly, if you're committing crimes. Like, that should be the only reason why you'd be concerned about being deported. Like, the idea that you need to be like, oh no, I need to understand how I'm allowed to talk about Israel in the United States in order to be a foreign college student, it just seems bizarre. And like, I get it. People be like, well, we shouldn't have these programs, or we shouldn't have this, or we shouldn't have that. Okay, but we do. So like, I mean, I don't even really care. I might even agree with you depending on what program or whatever. I don't have strong opinions on it. It's just, I don't know. It's very frustrating how it just seems to be playing off this boomer fucking like, you know, conservative, like fucking deport them all, herder. And you're like, you don't even really think about what that means. I mean, even if you don't want these people to be here, it's like, okay, at the very least you need to understand that like when they did this, they went through some sort of process thinking it was perfectly fine. And it's just kind of shitty. It's just being shitty to people. Like, just because someone's from another country doesn't mean you should be able to just be shitty to them. So, all right, let's check out the next story. Now we have once again another from the Rage Child saying Doug Ford just said it's his goal to inflict as much pain as possible on the American people. This is absolutely insane. Now, I will go and let you know, I don't even know who the fuck Doug Ford is. So if any of you guys want to let me know in the chat, let's watch this video. Maybe if none of you guys in the chat tell me who he is in the meantime, maybe we can Google him or something, figure him out. But let's go ahead and play this.
But I can assure you one thing. We're going to make sure that we inflict as much pain as possible to the American people without inflicting pain on the Canadian population. And not, but I can assure you.
I'm assuming that's some sort of Canadian fuck. Any of my Canadian audience, you got the premier of Ontario. Ontario makes it sound exotic when I say it like that. Ontario, there you go. Canadian Prime Minister. So okay, all right. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't find that big of a deal. I'm assuming with the what he's probably talking about here is probably trade war type stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. Is that really that crazy? And that's kind of they're playing trade war games. Is it really that crazy that it'd be like we're trying to inflict pain on them without inflicting pain on us? It's the whole silly, stupid fucking game they're playing. Is this brinksmanship of like, well, don't you guys not really like this? I mean, I think it's all stupid. I'm not a big fan of tariffs or the tariff wars. Like, obviously, when, you know, people have always point to examples of like, well, look at Trump when he threatened this guy with this, and then we end up getting that. Like, obviously, yeah, when it works out to your advantage, it's cool. But obviously, we see situations like this where it just becomes two assholes fucking bargaining over, you know, other people suffering. Like, that's all that it is. It's like, no, we're going to fuck you. No, we're going to fuck you. And you're like, okay, well, really, it's the American people that are getting fucked over here, and I guess probably the Canadian people. But anyways, my point being is, I guess it's not really all that astounding that you would catch them on saying such a thing. All right, another from the homie Rage Child. This just in: 23andMe won permission from a judge to try to sell information about customers' medical and ancestry-related data per Bloomberg. Is anyone really shocked? I thought they were already doing this stuff in the past, that they were already selling things and, you know, things like and shit like that. We're doing that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I guess I'm not astounded by that at all. I kind of assumed they were doing that already. I would suggest people don't just go give out your DNA to people. Probably a good idea. Keep that for your wife. Your wife is the only person who should be receiving your DNA. Here we go. I thought the mob was the biggest drug runners in Canada, says Bobo. Probably, I'm sure. So Evil Bowl Weevil says, don't know if you heard Sargon on Timcast last night, but he has an absolutely garbage take on where we are politically at. I have no idea. I don't really, honestly, frankly, I just don't ever really watch. I don't ever watch fucking. I had a brain fart. We don't ever watch really. I don't really ever watch Timcast, so I didn't see him on it. I don't really know. I mean, if you want to fill me in the chat, you can. I don't know. I've never really been particularly all that impressed by Sargon. He's okay. He's just one of those people that I'd say he's one of the better people out there typically, but I don't know. I think a lot of people get caught up in the fact that, oh my God, he speaks with an English accent. He's so fucking smart. Here we go. Lance Ripa says Democracy Now! Channel on YouTube put out a piece on Elon Musk's family ties to apartheid and neo-Nazism. Okay, cool. That's pretty dope. I'll have to check that out. All right, let's get into. All right, now we're going to get into a weird territory. I'm going to read through this. I read through it a little bit earlier, which, by the way, I didn't really address it. So I'm sorry I'm a little bit late today. Me and the wife went grocery shopping this morning, so that's why I'm a little bit later. But while I was kind of strolling through the aisles, I did try to kind of peek at this and try to figure it out and try to see if I can understand it. But this isn't the first time. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just one person that's doing it over and over again. But I have had a number of people that keep tagging me and Austin saying something about Racine, Wisconsin, Racine, like over and over and over again. And every time it's in some sort of thread, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. None of this makes sense. Like, it's not something that you can just at first glance be like, oh, okay. Like, I get what you're... I'm like, dude, what are you trying to get me? I don't get it. Like, this isn't like an approachable... but then now I'm seeing this thread. I went through it a little bit. I still don't completely get it, so maybe we'll figure out as we go. But for some reason, there is a group of people or one person who's very persistent who continually wants me to cover Racine, Michigan, or Wisconsin on the show. And you see here Canary in the coal mine saying Racine and Florida epicenters, in my opinion. Of what? I don't know. We're going to find out. But you guys keep saying that you want me to. I guess we can kind of start maybe from here, because I'm just, once again, still trying to trying to piece this together, because I just don't understand it. So we see this Cindy LHK says, fascinating. Wisconsin is the center of so much. No wonder it's a full-blown battleground right now. So she's sharing something about the story of NPR, which I don't know if maybe the implication here is that that's where NPR. I'm not even seeing Racine. Okay, here we go. Fresh Air Car Talk, the morning edition. If you're feeling warm and fuzzy, then you're probably a fan of National Public Radio, NPR. While you may know all the programs that can actually hear the voice of Terry Gross or Steve Inskeep in your head right now, you may not know that the concept for National Public Radio was born within the storied walls of the Johnson Foundation's wing spread in Racine, Wisconsin. All right. And isn't NPR, correct me if I'm wrong, that's publicly funded, correct? So that is and by public, I don't mean like, they get the literal public together and we donate. That would be private. I mean, literally they steal your money in taxes and they go, ta-da, here's a radio station. And because it's stolen from you in taxes, the retarded fucking, political understanding is, well, since it's public, this is what you guys wanted. This is what the will of the people created. And it's like, no, this was a bunch of bureaucrats who created a thing with my stolen money. So probably not in my best interests. Anyways, so this was created in Racine. Okay, so I guess maybe that's a starting point. There's something there. I'm not going to read all this stuff about the NPR, but maybe there's something there. We got essentially a public radio, obviously we kind of talked about the other day, Voice of America, which is the outward facing, like Fed, radio. That was where Tucker Carlson's dad worked for was the longest, running director there. Obviously I think there's some elements there. So let's keep moving. Let's get into see if maybe we can figure out what the hell this is about. We see, someone saying Racine is a conspiracy theorist, greatest bellwether of all time. Want to know if someone is an Intel plant? Just ask them to discuss Racine. I don't know if that means I'm an Intel plant. I'm not sure. Let's keep going. Let's get back to this. Then we see Rorschach was right, who tagged me and Austin here. He says, I keep seeing stuff about Racine, Washington. Sounds worth looking into. And then Canary in the Coal Mine left Racine in Florida, epicenters in my opinion. I don't know if he's implying I'm some sort of Fed because I'm in Florida. Maybe I'm in part of this and I don't even know it. But all right, he dropped a thread from, I guess, back from January. And hopefully maybe we can... Maybe this kind of makes sense. It's almost like they're implying there's some weird, creepy city or some sort. I'm gonna scroll through the chat. Take a second to scroll through the chat because I'm kind of curious, where we're at now. If maybe you guys know something more here. Oh, I didn't mean to leave that chat up all this time. So I was downtown yesterday and all I saw were tweakers and panhandlers. What, in Racine? Are you saying you're in Racine, Lance, or somewhere else? Scrolling through. All right. Love this channel since the first video I've seen, says Nicola Bertona. Well, thank you. And before that, you said currently so few channels stay with what they know and don't know what they don't know. A bit sad how many subscriptions went flying lately. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. People, when they're talking about shit they know nothing about, they seem to talk with quite a bit of certainty. Here's John Black saying 23andMe was hacked and they took primarily Jewish and Chinese DNA info. They started studying Jews and now they're bankrupt. That's where you're not supposed to go. Someone says, I haven't been down that rabbit hole, but allegedly people have connected it to PZA gate. So Pizzagate. Okay. All right. Because from what I'm gathering, it does seem some sort of glow nigger city is essentially what they're getting at, which, by the way, if anyone got offended by that, I wasn't literally even meaning it to black people. That's an old-timey reference to when people say glowies or he glows. The original version of that was from Reddit, and they call them glow niggers. We actually have a regular person on the show. Their username is glowy niggerspick, and I just always find it funny. But yeah, that's the old lore. That's where glowy comes from, is on Reddit, because they just call them glow niggers. It had nothing to do with them being black. It was just what they called feds. It was just a derogatory term for feds. That's all it was. So if you get offended about black people in that just means you're stupid, because it has nothing to do with black people. Wisconsin is a satanic state, says Rise to Liberty, meaning they have more active / practicing Satanists, cults, and covens than any other state. Director of NPR got ravaged in front of a congressional subcommittee. It was a public execution, said John Black. Wisconsin has always been a state, but Michigan is a close second. Okay, well, let's get into this. According to you guys out there, this is worthwhile. All right, it's Canary in the Coal Mine. Is Raccoon City in the Resident Evil series a soft D-class of Racine, Wisconsin? This thread will explore the connections. I'm going to take it slow as there's many connections to keep track of. But here we go. The rabbit hole is deep and dark. Someone's saying the mayor of Racine was charged with CP. All right. All right, we see some spooky photos here. All right, first let's take a look at the map of Raccoon City versus Racine, Washington. I mean, obviously you have to know from an etymology perspective, raccoon, Racine. Obviously, the C takes a soft sound, but raccoon, Racine, raccoon, racine. It's pretty damn close. Etymology-wise, word-wise. It says, do you notice anything? Do you see the rivers? So we can see here from these photos, you can see even the major rivers seem to be similar that run through. I don't know. How... Is it really that similar? I don't know. I mean, is it really that crazy that things have bodies of water? I'm not really seeing a super duper one for one here. I mean, this just looks like two land masses that, any land masses have shared characteristics. So I'll be honest, this does not impress me. I keep looking back and forth at them, seeing if I can see some sort of magic, perfect, like, oh my God, this is... Like, you can't even just, it's like, look, the same thing on both. No, none of that. They don't. This is weak. Actually, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, sorry, that's kind of retarded. Sorry, Canary in the Coal Line. Your first point is dumb. If you rotate the Google Earth map of Racine, it starts to look much more similar to the Raccoon City map from Resident Evil. Even the police departments and many other locations are exactly the same on the map. Okay, well, maybe you got me back a little bit more there if you're pointing out Even then, okay, no, that's not the exact same. I don't know. This seems kind of weak. I mean, even he's saying, oh, well, the water, like you can see, I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but you can see how the water's flowing there. It's not even the same. It goes straight up and down almost in the video game one, and then it's like almost going from corner to corner and kind of looping around. It's not the same, but all right, whatever. Both locations are in the Middle Eastern or Midwestern U.S. even. Another strange similarity between the two locations. Okay, they're both in the Midwest. Okay, whoop-de-doo. This got me thinking, who would represent the Umbrella Corporation in Racine then? The only major corporation here is SC Johnson. Isn't it strange how Umbrella Tower and SC Johnson Tower both look the same? The locations are in similar places on the maps. Coincidence? They don't look the same. Okay, this is an awful thread. I'm sorry. I'm like turning on this as I go. They don't look the same. They just look like towers. They're both towers. Oh my God, tower. They don't look alike like at all. Like they look very, very different. Very different. Okay, let's keep going. Why does the official seal of Racine have a hive on it, which looks very similar to the hive in Raccoon City? Could this be truth hidden in plain sight? I mean, that's super weak. I mean, it's better. Did you know the heir to SC Johnson was arrested for child stuff? Do you know the giant child center in the facility? Coincidence. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. Now, this is a SC Johnson billionaire heir. Gets 4 months jail, $6,000 fine in child sex assault case. This is I'll read this. This is from Forbes. When SC Johnson signed, Kurt Johnson was first charged with repeated sexual assault of a child in 2011. He faced a prison term of up to 40 years if convicted. Later, when it revealed that the girl in question was Johnson's stepdaughter, the Racine, Wisconsin District Attorney's Office filed to amend his initial felony charges to include incest. On Friday, after 3 years of pretrial litigation, the cleaning products heir, worth $3 billion, was sentenced instead to 4 months in jail and a $6,000 fine. He entered guilty pleas to 2 drastically reduced misdemeanor charges of 4th-degree sexual assault and disorderly conduct. It is interesting he's an SC Johnson, the heir, like a billionaire heir. So this is like a big money guy here from old money, SC Johnson. I want to say, if I recall correctly, they have some sort of roots in some sort of weirdness of some sort. SG Johnson considers itself a family company, was the family in Resident Evil an allegory for this. I mean, okay, so there's a family company, there's a family in Resident Evil. Notice the emblem of the Ascension Hospital in Racine. Okay. Well, I guess they have the little Trinity symbol thingy hospital, and then they're pointing out that the family has this like almost 4-part, looking Trinity thingy on it. Okay. Even then on the church thing, it's like a Trinity symbol. This is very common to see. I feel like you probably see them a lot in churches. Probably see them on hospitals, especially religious hospitals, so not crazy. Is another coincidence that the Ascension Hospital matches up with the hospital location in Raccoon City? They even look the same. They don't look the same. They look no more the same than like hospitals tend to have a similar type structure, and even then, they don't look similar. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought this up. Sorry, guys. I thought maybe this would kind of get into what's going on in Racine. I think, if anything, it kind of took me off base, really. Is another coincidence that Deep State's AI is called Alice. Alice in Resident Evil isn't necessarily evil, but protects the company's best interests. Alice for the Deep State isn't necessarily evil, but protects their best interests. Okay. What does that have to do with Racine? I don't know. Are they involved in... Okay. All right. Sorry again. The Resident Evil, the Hive, can be accessed via underground tunnels. It is a deep underground military base, DUMB for short. The other access is from the access points from the tower. Did you know Racine has rumors of DUMBs, which would be deep underground military bases? I did not know that. That's interesting. It would be nice if you provided something that goes to that. In fact, Racine is a hub for the Deep State, and there's an underground tunnel system that travels to Finger Lakes. Ooh, okay, you're getting me now from Racine. And they actually mention it 2 sentences later why. I'm like, okay. This is the symbology of Wilson. This is the tattoo on Hunter Biden's back. Coincidence? So you can see here, like you can see these are what the Finger Lakes look like, which are basically exactly the tattoos on. I mean, they are the tattoos on Hunter Biden's back. People, I guess, they're implying this is kind of like the Wilson thing, which you see that sometimes. I don't know if that's I don't know if I believe that thing, the Wilson, that has anything to do with the Finger Lakes, the Wilson thing. Maybe the rumor with that, with the deep state, symbolism, if there is any to be had with like the Wilson face, is that's more in like to do with like frazzle drip type things. So than it would a Finger Lakes. That seems a little ridiculous to me. But yeah, you can see here he has the Finger Lakes tattoos on his back. So why? I don't know. So yeah, it's the symbology. Well, it's tattoo on Hunter Biden's back. So, the Great Lakes have an underground tunnel system that travel to and from the Finger Lakes to Racine. Okay, so these connect to the Great Lakes through an underwater tunnel system. Children are trafficked and brought in from the Finger Lakes area and are moved silently. Okay, I mean, this would be kind of a location that would make sense if it is connected in all these different ways. And this is somehow connected to Racine. Maybe there's something there. Here's a graphic of the watersheds and underground wine tunnel system under Finger Lakes. So I guess you can see somehow in there, you can see underground tunnels in this. I don't really know how to read the map or for tunnels, but I guess they say that is the case. So, okay, you can see the Finger Lakes. I think maybe they're implying some of those little lines coming off them. Maybe they're tunnels. I'm unsure. Either way, we see here, maybe these on the bottom, maybe they're tunnels. The New York State Wine Underground. That's what this says. So I think maybe there's some sort of diagram of the tunnels that go under it. Either way. All right, let's keep going. The umbrella logo even looks like the inverse of the Knights of Malta logo. Okay. Rothschilds, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Rockefellers, etc. are all connected to Racine as well. Are they? I would like to know more information on that. Do you see the symbology in all these? The Templar emblem. That logo is on a building we'll tie in later in a crazy way. The building is associated with the Episcopal Church, which is a rabbit hole in and of itself. So I guess they're showing these symbols or showing the Umbrella Corporation thing and then the Order of Malta, which it actually does look like. The Order of Malta thing does look a lot like that. Connecting that Racine seems extremely weak. It says, before I keep going, I think it's pertinent to give credit for a lot of my Racine information to Black Betty at Black D, back fucking name bunch of numbers, essentially. Or basically Black Betty on Twitter. She's been instrumental. Check her out. So whatever. All right, where are we? Episcopal Church. Notice the Templar/Kiddo symbology. This is from the DeKoven Center website, by the way. Historic mansion in Racine. Does it look familiar to any of the Resident Evil fans reading this thread? Okay, I guess, once again, I'm not a Resident Evil guy, so you guys tell me. Here is the mansion they're speaking of. It looks like, is it like on the water, maybe? I'm unsure. Either way, I guess there's probably a mansion in the Umbrella game or whatever the Resident Evil games, which I bet you it looks mansion-like. And so in that way, it probably looks a lot like this one. Like it just looks like a generic mansion. This person is like peak schizo connecting things. Okay, all right, well, we look at these two. Once again, yeah, I guess they look sort of alike, but even then, not really. Like if you're looking for distinct features here, not really anything in that sense aside from standard features you would see in a mansion. So I'm not buying this connection. This is weak. Here's an aerial view of it. He's wanting to say, keep an eye on Templar and Eucharist symbology. These also just are kind of, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I'm getting more and more tired with this fucking thread. This is way too schizo. All right, now they're getting into fucking analyzing words of Israel. It just so happens that the Racine Founders Rotary Club has a report called The First Global Revolution, a report by the Council Club of Rome. It's Mr. Israel there, bottom left. They envision... all right, yeah, I really don't like... I'm sorry, whoever this is. Did you know Zuckerberg focused on Racine, Wisconsin for OpenAI? World leaders were won over by Sam Altman's OpenAI system. Okay, so they're doing a lot of open AI stuff here too. Okay, now we're getting more interesting. Racine's one of the participating smart city locations for 2023, that was designated for 2023. Okie dokie. All right. That's interesting for sure. Sorry. This is just a shit thread, to be completely honest with you. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through to see if there's anything. Circling back to Microsoft Open/Racine. It's a bunch of tidbits from Sam Altman of OpenAI. He's a world kid. Okay, this is still trash. All right, now somehow this is connecting to Israel. All right, if any of you guys see, I'm over this one. This is getting far too schizo, way too, and none of this really seems to connect to Racine at all. Props to them for going all the way to Vril and trying to connect it to Racine without really actually having anything to do with Racine at all. All right, I'm sorry that I did this to you guys, but yeah, if anyone does actually have stuff on Racine, I'm all for covering it. Just this thread, I don't know, I was a little bit interested in it starting out, and it just got way too over the top schizo. So yeah, I mean, there definitely seems to be, with this being such a long thread, as I went through, there were interesting little tidbits, but I just can't, wade through the insane amount of like really weak connections and awful, like over the top, conspiracy, connections without really actually having any substance there connecting them, to look for the tiny little tidbits of interest here to piece them together. So for those of you guys out there, because apparently there are a bunch of you guys who do want me to really cover Racine stuff, yeah, tag me in it. That one wasn't doing it. Sorry if whoever made that thread saw it. I'm sorry. Someone says I'm too handsome to be a Fed. I am too handsome to be a Fed. Thank you. I'm scrolling through the chat. See, maybe some of you guys say, this guy's trolling you to make us all a little bit more retarded. Raccoon City, Capcom isn't in on it, bro. Yeah, right? Yeah, definitely too far. Just derailing the real links. Exactly. It's what I'm saying. I guess it's kind of fun to read through, but even then it's like more annoying because I'm trying to I was seeing some stuff in there like, oh, okay, cool. They're doing AI there. Oh, it's a smart city. So there definitely is a lot of stuff going on here, and there's something spooky. It's just hard to parse that all through all the other craziness that was in there. So let me see. I'm just scrolling through, seeing maybe if any of you Knights of Pythias are from Racine. I don't even know what Knights of Pythias are. Let's look that up. Let's Google that up real quick. Knights of Pythia. Knights of Pythias. Let's look this. What is it? It's an international non-sectarian fraternal order established in Washington, D.C. on February 19th, 1964 by Justice Rathbone. Justice Rathbone. If it ever fucking opens the link. Okay. Here we go. All right. Well, it's trying to load. All right. Here we go. What the fuck? Pythias? No, that's not what I meant to go. I meant to go to the Wikipedia. Knights of Pythias. And they're the first fraternal organization to receive a charter from Congress. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, all right. No, they got charter from Congress. All right. Is founded by Justice Rathbone, who had been inspired by a play from the Irish poet John Benim, by the historic Greek legend of Damon and Pythias that illustrates the Pythagorean ideals of loyalty, honor, and friendship. They're at the center of the order. 2003, the order had over 2,000 lodges in the U.S. and around the world, with a total membership of over 50,000. Some lodges meet in structures referred to as Pythian castles. Okay, so that's this is where that came from. Racine is there. So most of Hunter's tattoos depict cocaine and hookers, said someone. Yeah. Someone said this is retarded. You are correct. That thread was retarded. I'm sorry. I appreciate for looking into this. People have been screaming out for a while. Someone says check out the connections KT and the Getty. The Getty may be the Western satellite to this, Racine being the Midwestern. All right. This all seems like a bit of a stretch. Yeah, but although I don't think that's what people were telling me to look into. I don't think they were saying specifically, oh, the connections to Umbrella. I think someone was just having fun with that and was using that to connect to a lot of the other stuff. Here we go. Schizocast. For real, though, Louisa Marie Neubauer Rothschild was Greta Thunberg's coach. The Neubauers are big in Racine. Okay, well, that's interesting. So she is, a line off of the Rothschilds and coached Greta Thunberg, whatever. And they are in Racine. Okay, that's something. Knights of Pythias own a huge slew of orphan asylums back in the day. Checks out. FDR was a Pythian. All right. Okay. All right. Well, we're on to something now there on that side of things. I mean, if there's anything else, I guess I'm probably going to move on but I don't think there's. I mean, I am very intrigued. It's just that this specific edit didn't really, or not edit thread, just didn't do it for me. All right, let's get into the next story. I think maybe we'll make this the last one. Just kind of a follow-up on we kind of covered this, but I figured maybe this video might do a little bit, kind of explain a little bit more of the details that were left out last time we covered this. This was the Biden attorney that ended up dead. So I figured that it might be good to take a second to kind of hone in specifically. I mean, we found that, I guess in 2023, I think she was working on some sort of case that was some sort of bizarre Israeli immigration scam where they were trying to get over the states and bypass a lot of our immigration controls. And I didn't really, when we talked about it the other day, I don't know what, maybe about a week ago, maybe a little bit less, I don't think we knew the specifics on like how this was being done. This goes into a little bit more. Apparently, this was through mall kiosks. So I guess and a lot of people out there remember a lot of the weird little niche, not niche, shtick kiosks, like the ones that are like, I don't know, the weird. I remember the ones that had like the planes or the little like flying remote control things that were like wireless, and you just put like your hand above it and then it would like fly up, so you could like, it was like you were doing magic. You could like like kind of move it around, and then you see all these like dudes doing these cool tricks in the malls with them, like when we were little kids, just shit like that. Like apparently that was a lot of this was a big old Jew scam. Who would have thought? Our whole life is just a big old Jew scam. Even the times we thought we were having fun and just like, wow, Mom, can I get one of those? She said, no, keep moving. Even that was a big old Jew scam. So let's keep going.
Virginia, Jessica Aber was found dead in her home on Saturday. Just 2 weeks ago, I made a video regarding a Mossad spying operation, and I'm finding out now that she was part of the team investigating it. She posted this in November of 2023, exactly a month after October 7th. After we extradited this defendant from Israel, he pleaded guilty to recruiting and facilitating the illegal entry of Israel citizens into the United States with fraudulent tourist and visitor visas. This is what's shocking me right now, is just 2 weeks ago, I made a video regarding how the Israeli Mossad entered the United States around 9/11 on the East Coast, conducting intelligence operations while pretending to be employees for mall kiosks.
Documents say they, quote, targeted and penetrated military bases, the DEA, FBI, and dozens of other government facilities, and even secret offices and unlisted private homes of law enforcement and intelligence personnel. The majority of those questioned, quote, stated they served in military intelligence, electronic surveillance intercept, and/or explosive ordnance units. Another part of the investigation has resulted in the detention and arrests of dozens of Israelis at American mall kiosks, where they've been selling toys called Puzzle Car and Zoomcopter. Investigators suspect a front. Shortly after the New York Times and Washington Post reported the Israeli detentions last month, the carts began vanishing.
This is what's crazy. If you look at the investigation she was a part of, it is from the government's website. Foreign national pleads guilty to role in immigration fraud and money laundering scheme. Shai Cohen, 39, admitted to organizing and working with others to recruit and facilitate the illegal entry of Israeli citizens into the United States under false pretenses.
Keep in mind, they said earlier in this that these were primarily people that were like of military or intel background. So this does seem like literally just a scam to get operatives into the States is what it seems like.
That's how he did it. Upon arrival, the non-citizens were employed at various kiosks, owned and operated by Cohen and his co-conspirators in malls in Virginia and Maryland. Non-citizens who were engaged in illegal employment were primarily compensated for their work by under-the-cash table payments or the transfer of money to stored value payment cards. Cohen and his co-conspirators also made foreign and domestic financial transactions in furtherance of and to promote their criminal scheme. This sort of scheme, using mall kiosks as a front company, is a Mossad operation straight out of their old playbook. I have no information regarding U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber's cause of death. What I do know is this investigation she uncovered is very reminiscent of an Israeli Mossad operation.
Yeah, no, he's definitely nailing it. I figured this would be good to kind of just hone in on the specifics on that because we hadn't really got to that yet. So this checks out now. Yeah, this was a big old juice scam. Damn juice scams. Yeah. Art students, 9/11 Mossad guys worked at mall kiosks. Yeah, for sure. Then someone says they're still sending underprivileged kids to camps. I guess the Pythians. So just 2 weeks ago, that TikToker had like 8 dicks. What? His rally. Okay, I can't even makes no sense. All right, let's one more story. One more. I thought this would be kind of fun. We covered this a little bit the other day. I'm probably only going to cover like half of this because I think the second half kind of dovetails into stuff we talked about yesterday. But this is kind of on the OpenAI whistleblower guy that died recently. It just kind of connects into, if anyone's been on Twitter, there's been the Ghibli trend. The Ghibli Studios trend has just been taken over. Everyone's just using ChatGPT to do all sorts of different, Ghibli studios. For those who are aware, remember what Ghibli is or know what Ghibli is. It's like an animation. It's like essentially anime, but it's like a specific type of style. It's like almost as if like anime and that nostalgic, old, like Disney cartoons from when we were little kids that we grew up on, like the classics, like Snow White or just that older style animation stuff that kind of has like a nostalgic, almost more like monochrome type of, vibes. Very, I don't know, just feels 90s or earlier type of. Anyways, you get it. It's not the standard like what you think of when you think of anime today. It's also not like old anime. It's like some sort of melding of that like children's art style and then like an anime thing. It's hard to describe. It's kind of cutesy, kind of feels wholesome, feels nostalgic. So people are going nuts with that. But this kind of ties into the recent whistleblower death. So let's go ahead and play it.
Ghibli. So these Ghibli or Ghibli-inspired images have just absolutely taken over my timeline. And I mean, they're fun. Whatever. No big deal. Some of these are legitimately pretty hilarious. Even Mike Tyson is getting in on it. He's in his happy place. But what makes this trend even possible at all? Because there's an obvious copyright issue with these ChatGPT, Sam Altman created images. Well, some of you may have heard the story, some of you not, but last October, an OpenAI researcher named Suchir Balaji went to the New York Times alleging that his company was breaking all sorts of copyright laws. And then 2 months later in December, he checked out. And according to the official autopsy, medical examiner says he did it on his own accord. Except there's some really weird evidence that's just...
All right, and this is where I end it because the evidence is just kind of covering everything we did. But now we did kind of leave out, I think maybe we mentioned it in passing, but I wasn't entirely sure even really how this all started, what it was about. So it's about it's about copyright. So he was an AI whistleblower saying they were breaking copyright laws in order to do their AI stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and out here and say, I don't fucking care. I think copyright is bullshit entirely. I'm fully Kinsella pilled here. I am not I do not believe that you have rights to, I don't believe in intellectual property. I don't believe that's a thing. I don't believe you own ideas. I don't think you get to have an idea and you go, that's mine now. No one can ever tell it. If you want that to be yours, you need to keep it to yourself and not share it. Because otherwise it has now entered other people's minds and it's simply a sequence of thoughts. That's all it is. And so if you manage to pass on that sequence of thoughts to somebody else, oh no, you've put out that sequence of thoughts into the world. And I know everyone then goes, well, but what about this? But what about that? And you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to spend this oh no, what if we did things different? And there are ways. There are plenty of libertarian thinkers who have thought about the Kinsella I just mentioned that have thought about like how this would work if that. I know like the first example always people go to is like things like, ironically they'll bring up like use comedians as an example. And you're like, oh, it's kind of fucked up. People steal someone's set, right? And you're like, well, one, that's not illegal, and two, it's actually kind of a perfect example of like how we think we should work. Like I don't support the idea of people stealing people's comedy sets. I think that's a shitty thing to do. I do think it should be legal. I don't think there should be cops involved, but you don't need it to be legal. There are literally comedians whose entire careers have been ruined over doing such things. So there's a complete market function here that prevents you from doing that. And I think the market does usually tend to to reward kind of people who are innovators. They're the forward side of things. So, I mean, there are ways to go about it. Obviously, there's, cons to any sort of different system. But at the end of the day, I don't think you own ideas. So the idea that, like, oh no, that Ghibli owns this art style, that no one else can, like, then make doodles in such an art style, it kind of makes my point for me here. No, I think it's ridiculous. I don't think... So it is kind of a bummer. This dude got killed over some non-existent property, some non-existent rights. It wasn't even like it was real fucking crime. It's pretty fucking lame if he got offed over that. I mean, obviously I'm against the offing of him, but yeah, the whole copyright side of things, whatever. I'm all for it. I mean, fucking, I hope they steal everyone's copyright shit. I don't give a flying fuck. I want to be able to type in whatever the fuck I want in the AI, and it spits it out for me. Welcome to the new world, baby. This is how it works. I know there's going to be a lot of people who get upset by the new system, but it is what it is. You can't stop innovation. I mean, you're just essentially a person crying about the fact that now we have cars. I'm sorry, we do. You may not be able to continue to exist in a horse and buggy fucking business unless maybe you completely innovate your business model or something, make it some sort of niche nice thing or something. Things are changing, so, and I think people are going to have to adapt to it. Things like copyright laws, you're going to get to a point with the future that's just like, how would you even manage around like it's just going to be a nightmare. The idea that you're going to somehow prevent ideas from spreading, it's just good fucking luck. So that's all really I had to do on that. I just thought it was interesting and a good time to kind of point out how patent laws are communist propaganda, like JMS says. Yeah. So yeah. All right, let me scroll through the chat and then I guess we'll get out of here. I think we got through all of it stuff. So the Racine shit is fake and gay. Well, what do you mean by this Racine shit fake and gay? Like the thing I just played is like, or the thing I was reading is fake and gay, or just the idea of Racine being a spooky place? Because I think, if I'm understanding it correctly, I don't think the conspiracy people are implying is that it's just like Umbrella. I think that was just, it happened to be a bad thread I picked up. I think people are getting at that it's just a spooky spot with a lot of weird stuff, and so it almost makes you wonder if this is almost like a glow town, almost. So yeah. But I guess with that, we're probably going to go ahead and get out of here. I think we covered really everything I wanted to get into today. Scrolling through Rumble real quick to make sure you guys didn't leave any Rumble rants or anything you didn't. But with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. If you guys want to support what we're doing over here, and if you don't want to chip in a buck, the best way you can do that is like, share, subscribe, comment. Also leave 5-star reviews on iTunes and Spotify. That goes a long ways. Do that for both me and Austin if you appreciate what we're doing. Also, if you do want to chip in a buck, if you're willing to chip in some money, I mean, cash is king. That is the best way to support the show. There really is no better way. And that's over at patreon.com/nowayjose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get early access to episodes. I'm trying to do 2 a week these days. You're just doing 1 this week, so but I'm gonna get into it. I told you guys the situation. My wife's gonna pick up another shift late, here soon, and so I'm gonna start doing another episode on those days because I try to if the old lady's home, I like to spend it with her instead of you guys. Sorry, that's how it works. But the $2 level, you also get the ad-free RSS feed, and you also can get the video chat function on me and Austin's weekly call-in show. Also, the high end is my sponsors. I say give them a shout out every episode. My co-host on Tower Gang at Tower Gang Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZOVRECK, at _ Infinite Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at John on Klebold, then Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, then big fan of the show, Torn May, then at INWARD Lover. I forgot to mention earlier, it doesn't make sense to do it at this point, but follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. I always forget to mention that. That's the best place. If you guys want me to bring up content on this show, that's the place to do it. Tag me there, in content. If you see something on Twitter, you're like, oh, this would be great, this show, at Tower Gang Jose or at Theater Thug AWP, I think is Austin. So tag us, and we're almost certainly likely to bring it up. So yeah, I appreciate it. With that, guys, we're out of here. Deuces.